websites seem to perpetuate that gamers hate women characters, and
Oh, really?
I find that very puzzling. Are there gamers that do? Sure. Do they make up a small amount of people? Is that voice something that is really worth giving credence to, where they immediately see a woman and they write off a game? Like, no. Everyone's allowed to have their opinion, but their opinion shouldn't be amplified to the point of where that becomes like a stigma. This isn't, the olden days of video games, to where it was a strictly male-dominated hobby. But even
it still is. What are you talking about, bro? More males play video games than females. That's why you see these videos on the internet. Does my boyfriend value the PS5 more than he does me? Come on, bro. Video gaming has always been a male-dominated hobby. It is what it is.
Because I'm someone who's old.
Oh, really?
I think back in time, and there were lots of lead women characters. Whether you're looking at like fighting games.
Oh, really? We're going to use fighting games as an example. Street Fighter 2 only had one female character in the roster when it released. Mortal Kombat 1 only had one female character. And the funny thing is about these fighting games, they were all built off stereotypes, off ethnicity, nationalities, and cultures. Okay, that's exactly how Street Fighter 2 got made, which is perfectly fine. Nobody got offended back then. If anything, we still had fun playing the games, right? So all these snowflakes now that we got nowadays complain about every single thing. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man, because back then we really didn't care, right? So you want to use fighting games as an example, but fighting games have always been known to have a diversity of characters. So you can't use that as an example, man. I mean, you even got reptiles. I mean, alien. I mean, come on, man. Tekken, they represent everybody. Bears, kangaroos, and ogres. Y'all remember Tekken with the secret characters? Everybody was being represented in that game. That's probably why the game was popular. You had the bears coming out buying PS1s. Oh, I love this game. I love that I'm being appreciated. Even kangaroos coming out of Australia were picking up PS1s. They're like, we love this game. We're represented. Wow, no wonder Tekken was a success. They were out here representing everybody. Even the ogre that lived underneath the bridge. Whoa.
Female representation, if that's what you want to call it, where a lot of characters were female-based characters. Look at something like Mortal Kombat 2. Some of the most played characters in that game were female. You of course have characters like Samus and the Metroid franchise.
You can't use that as an argument either, because a lot of people didn't know that Samus was female, because a lot of y'all didn't even beat the game under a certain time limit. The only real gamers knew that. A lot of you fake wannabes only found that out mostly due to the internet. So that really don't count, man. I'm sorry, man. That was null and void with me.
You have characters like Lara Croft. You had characters like the Fear Effect series. Like, there were...
What about Parasite Eve?
Female characters back then.
Yeah, we know that.
Really, cared. Nobody...
I mean, you had Medal of Honor Underground. I mean, there was a few games with female characters. Perfect Dark, another example.
Really cared, and there wasn't really a culture war with this or anything like that, because we were growing video games. The video game medium wasn't infiltrated by Hollywood and all this sort of stuff. It was a very underground sort of thing. So we took something and we looked at it and we were like, oh, this is good. We like this game. Or, oh, this is bad. We don't like this game. But it seems like in the modern era, if a game has a female lead character, there are some people, not a large group.
And now you out here defending that new Ghost of Vogue game. People are bashing it, not mostly due to the female character, mostly due to the voice actor that's playing that said character. And like I said, people said, wow, she has influences with the LGBT. Why couldn't they just settle for a female voice actor that didn't have all these other tie-ins? And what's even more crazy, you guys said that Sucker Punch would never do a thing like this. And look, they did it with their next game. We try to tell you, man, they're out here catering to nobody. Nobody wants these trash games, bro. I'm sorry. Because the game characters that we had were iconic and they were memorable. As much as I don't care for Tomb Raider, she's still a very prominent female character within gaming history. You feel me? Like I said, there's just something appealing about these characters and not so with the ones that we got now. I would even go as far to say it's like that even with the male characters that we get.
But there are some people who immediately write the game off. And
oh, really? Just like you did Concord and everything else, right?
Enough sort of ammunition for places like websites and YouTubers and very outspoken personalities on social media to start creating this war, this ongoing war against female lead characters in video games, to where you get called names and stuff like that. It's so damn bizarre to me.
I mean, it is ridiculous, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not picking up that Ghost of Woke because it is a female character. I'm sorry. And finding out about the voice actor that's playing it, I'm not picking it up for that reason. I'm sorry. I'll pick it up at a discount, but I don't think I'm giving Sony my money for that, man. I'll go back and play retro games with the real female and male characters. People don't want this, man. It's the fact that these companies, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of them are pushing agendas. It's pretty evident and it's pretty obvious. So you have to settle for the games that they're not. I'm trying to tell you people, no matter how much you complain, they're going to still push for it because they feel that there's more of a mass market that, yes, you guys are right that they're not real gamers, but a lot of the ones that are complaining about this ain't real gamers either. They're just grifting like everybody else, getting views, getting engagement. They all just jumping into the frail, and nobody really cares about any of the complaints that are going on. People are saying that they're not going to buy Undisputed because Ryan Garcia is not in the game anymore. See, this is what people do, and then they harp on it, and I'm not buying it either. Like, you would have to be a fool to not buy a game because one boxer is being completely removed from the game, right? You people just want to stir up fake outrage, and this is what y'all do. Y'all do this every day. That's the problem with social media right there.
Because if we had an instance where a game with a female lead character was never successful, okay, then maybe
a lot of female characters, even Tomb Raider. It took for the series to get rebooted for the game to do well. Perfect Dark didn't do well. No female character game did well. Bayonetta, yes, it has its audience, but it's never been at that 10, 20. Name a female lead character game, guys, that's been over 10, 15, 20 million copies. You guys know that ain't true. Everybody likes some people don't even like the Duke Nukems. They settle for the Doom, but they don't care about the Duke Nukem. So it's just like I said, man, even male characters have to go through this. They have to. We all have to go through the same thing. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of iconic characters in video gaming, and I don't see them being passed anytime soon, especially with these uninspired characters.
There's so many successful games that have female lead characters. The Horizon series has sold over 13 million copies.
Oh, see, we got you, game. So you see. Yeah, that's true. It's so funny how I forgot about Horizon. I'm really good with this. He got me with that one.
Now, I'm not a fan of Aloy. It's not because she's a woman. It's because she's a boring character. But I still can appreciate the gameplay. I could still... And to, just diminish people for not playing that game because of the fact that it was a female lead character is ridiculous. Because, yes...
But you did the same thing, though.
There's always going to be a small contingency of people that are of the extreme mindset. And
the problem is gaming has been hijacked by a bunch of fake and wannabes. There has never been real gamers, bro. I don't care. You know what, bro? I'm going to go as far back with the NES, okay? Because I remember people were lying about their gaming credibility back then. They were lying about their accomplishments. Gaming has always been fake. Y'all like, what? It's been fake. We've all been lied to. We've all been believing a theory and a dream that has never been the case, bruh. It's always, there's never been a such thing as a real gamer. Y'all are just making up these terms as we go. Oh, we buy games. People back then rented them. And ain't nobody was saying people weren't real gamers. People weren't completing games back then because they were too hard. I don't understand how you guys can't complete these games now, because they're way easier than the games back then. It made sense as to why they couldn't beat a game in 3 days before returning it to Blockbuster. But what is your fanboy's excuse? Y'all have no excuse to not be able to beat these cinematic games unless you don't like them. Gaming has always been fake. Even back then, y'all like, wow, games, do you know what? And if you was the one that stood above all that, you the one that has the skills. You the ones that can beat Contra, beat Castlevania, you're the one that stood the test of time. All these people, I remember people were saying, oh, I could beat Mike Tyson in Punch-Out, bro. Man, my friend was struggling with Glass Joe. I'm like, bro, you seriously capping right now, man. Because if you couldn't play it or show it in the neighborhood that you can do it, we just laughing. Nah, bro, you just capping. You know, I've had people tell me I could beat Super Mario 64 in 5 minutes. That's what they would be saying in school. And guess what? You can't do that. That's all people was doing back then was lying, and they doing it now. The same liars that were back then are now lying now that they got a platform on YouTube or Twitter or whatever else they using. These are the same people, guys. The same one that told you he could beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Remember, he was a child. Now he's a grown man. And who are the people you're seeing doing this now? Are the same people that did it back then. Gaming has always been niche. Gaming has only been accomplished and established for people like myself and several others. That's it. We are in a small minority even back then. Y'all want to sit there and say, oh, well, these casuals had to buy our games, but they didn't have no passion to complete them. They only picked them up because they didn't want to feel left out. And that's what it is, man. We are a dying breed.
You can't give them too much. Like, okay, you don't want to buy the game because it's a woman character. Fine. There's many people look at it. Most people, I should say, look at a game for what it is to see if it is.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not true, because if that was the case, then we wouldn't be having these complaints, would we? People would be picking up these games. There is an inherent, like I said, and I'm going to say it again. People are comfortable with what they're playing, and this is why gaming, to me, will cease to exist, because, like I said, nobody wants to expand on behalf of the little world that they're living in. They're looking for their GTA 6. They want to play the NBA. They can sit there and complain. It's so funny, right? When people say, well, NBA 2K25 is getting bad reviews, but the game is still selling well. Like, you'll see people in GTA 5, oh, Rockstar, you ripping people off with money with loan shark cards, and yet these are the same people buying them. Because you can't leave a review on something unless you buy it. Come on, man. Y'all doing too much, man. You see how I just exposed that?
Interesting to them. And as long as it's interesting to them, they will support the game. Star Wars Outlaws was not an interesting game. Wasn't a well-done game.
You sure?
The game itself was fun.
Actually, though, I mean, just by looking at this gameplay, it looks pretty well done, in my opinion.
Mentally bad. But then, of course, you have victories with the woman character and stuff like that. Look at the new Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom. That game is selling exponentially well. It's the second highest selling game of all time in Japan for a long.
Japan don't matter because Japan don't be bringing in the money like the U.S.
Launch of a game. So why isn't there a conversation around that? I know I made jokes about it, but there's no conversation around, oh, we got to play Zelda? A woman?
To be honest with you, I don't want to play that game because it's just not a real Legend of Zelda game, in my opinion.
And I don't want to do this. No, nobody cares. Because it's a Zelda game. There's a certain level of quality that those games have. And although
really that looks real high quality, bro. I'm sorry, bro. That looked like $20,000 budget.
That game does have fundamental problems. None of it is because of the character itself. None of it is because of the character being a woman. Then you have the situation with Ghost of Yotei. I don't know how to say it. We're going to say Yotei because it reminds me of the Yeti from WCW. Where now, this is the whole culture war thing. And of course, immediately, and this even happened on the Spawncast. Now, I was switching computers when and stuff like that, and you're going to have, some fringe people automatically write the game off because it has a female lead character. Fine, whatever. That doesn't make up a vast majority of the marketplace. But once you start to look at the vast majority of the marketplace, it's like, well, where did the concerns arise? And if you look at, think about it in another context. If the person was the opposite side of the spectrum as far as outspoken things and inverse with it.
Oh, so now he's bringing up the fact that it's the character that's stopping people from buying the game. Yeah, I don't want to play this. I'm sorry, bro. I wanted a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Nobody asked for this expansion nonsense. Now, could it be a good game? Yeah, more than likely. Like I said, it is what it is, but it ain't no real Hayabusa, man. We come from the era of iconic characters, bro. You know what I mean? You look at that character and they're like, man, Ryu Hayabusa, man, you're just so badass. All the characters that we grew up with were just, man, you're like, dang, man, that's, even the female characters, like, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just look at them and you're like, wow. You see these characters are like, uh-oh, here we go again with this DEI crap. Here we go.
Do your own research, because I don't really care about it. I just
You
think
sure?
that it is a point to bring up. If you have a polarizing personality that can be off-putting to a large segment of people, whether it's any sort of people, that's going to be something that.
And also, too, another issue is that gaming is dominated by males, but yet we're seeing more female characters than ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just ridiculous, man. Like, y'all putting female characters in everything. Y'all like, oh, you sounding like Andy Pants right now, right? I know. So, it's true. Like I said, man, obviously there's something going on here. I'm not saying Sweet Baby ain't had anything to do with it, but I'm just saying, why are these companies catering to a market as being predominantly dominated by men? Okay? Like I said, we have no problem with female characters. Remember when Andy Pants say, why are they making only 14% of these games? They need to make 14% for the you-know-whats, and they need to make majority for the us. Right? And I'm just not a fan of these characters, man. Even the male characters, I'm not a fan of any of them. The male, female, they're just not iconic, man. I'm sorry, bro. It has this DEI all over it, man. Oh, we're just pushing a female character just so we can feel different. You know, like that's the type of appeal that these games have now.
Plays into people's minds. And we, of course, have this whole veil that has been lifted for the video game industry. Well, now you know all these people's, beliefs on everything, because people just love to talk about their beliefs and, think that they are, just so important that everyone needs to know what they think at every waking moment. And it's this whole, bigger issue of social
I bet that
media.
dog's female too.
But that could be very off-putting. And that could be a bit concerning. Is this going to bleed into the character potentially?
Yeah.
But to just write it off as, oh, you hate the game because it's a female lead character, that's ridiculous.
I don't want to play it. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be on record saying I don't want to play this game because there is a female character. The end. I don't want to play as this character, bro. It is what it is. Oh, look at you. You see? GameStop thought you was better than this. You sounded like Andy Pants. No, because you can clearly see what they're doing. I like female characters. I like Bayonetta. That's a female character. I like Urban Chaos. That's predominantly played by a female character. Well, you can play as a male character as well, but female character. So I have no problem with female character. I have no problem with anybody. But this whole representation stuff, because RGT, you will go as far to bash the LGBT. Like I said, nobody's defending anybody. I'm just telling you guys what's going on here. Okay? We don't have to make this into some political warfare. I'm telling you, they talk about how they want representation, and you guys are talking about how you want representation. Nobody's just valuing the character for what they are. Have you guys noticed that? From all sides, regardless if you disagree with one another or not, right? You guys are all complaining about we don't feel represented. Okay, fine, right? That's cool. But then you have to look at it from the other side that's saying the same exact thing. And then you guys are like, well, there's more of us than there is them, so why are they catering to them? Me, I'm here for the real gaming movement, and I don't personally like the way they're pushing these female characters, man. Keep it consistent with what y'all did with Shadows. The only reason why I defended Yasuke was because at least that he was some form of historical figure, okay? You can say, oh, he wasn't this, he wasn't that, he wasn't this, and that. It doesn't matter. He existed. Regardless if you want to sit there and say he was holding Nobunaga's sword, the man existed, and he was alive. Unlike the female character, which y'all clearly didn't bash, until now you guys want to bash this game now. Seriously, bro. Like, I mean, I was fine with Yasuke. I personally was, because at least there was a reference off something. And you could do something pretty dynamic and crazy, which would be the creativity of what this gaming community is about, and take that and fully utilize it to its potential to create this nice fictional world with Assassin's Creed Shadows. But y'all weren't saying that with the female character. I mean, even Tenchu, Yami, and then you had Rikamaru. They had a male and a female character. So nobody had a problem with this, man. But I do think that with a lot of these games, you can clearly see there's some agenda pushing, even from the voice actresses themselves. That actually stopped me from wanting to get this game. Not mostly to the feet, but once I found out about the voice actress and her opinions and how, I guess you guys can say I'm doing the same thing. I guess you guys can say that as well. But I think what it is, a lot of people, we got so accustomed to enjoying and liking the things that we do like that we just don't want to try out and experience other new characters. I mean, we finally hit a plateau. Maybe the new audience will take this game and carry it, but I'm done carrying the gaming community. I don't care no more. I don't care. I know what I like. Real Hayabusa.
That's ridiculous. And what it does is it shuts down any sort of real conversation to have.
Because no, it doesn't, because I don't want it.
Let's say they were a bit more of a conservative person. You would have people bringing that up. You know, that's
and the funny thing is, another reason I don't want to pay $70 for these games anymore, man. I that's another thing too. Because that's probably the main reason, because it's the same reason for Silent Hill 2. And I have no problem with James Sunderland, but I don't want to play it. I don't want to pay $70 for these games. Now, if you push Ghost of Woke, or if you push Silent Hill 2 remake on a subscription service, I probably would play it. I'm not going to lie. I probably would play it. But I think people are tired of being burnt out of $70, man. I really am, man. I bought a lot of games for the Xbox One and PS4, and I was not very happy with them. You know what I mean? I was not. You know what I mean? I think it discouraged people from wanting to buy games and try out new things. So now all people could do is bash the next upcoming game. I mean, it is what it is. I picked up Starfield for $20, guys. I still got it sealed. Whenever I'm ready to play it, I'll play it. But I still got the game sealed. $20. You know? I'm not paying $70 for these games. You crazy? These games suck.
How the world is. Not everyone views things the same ways. Not everyone's belief system is this, that, or the other. But when you see things like that, it can be a little bit off-putting. Am I still interested in the game? Yes. Do I care if a game has a female lead character? No. I care if the video game is good. I care if the characters are well written. I care if things make sense and we're not just changing things just to change things.
That's kind of what they're doing, and that's why people are complaining.
To try to appease to certain people.
And that's what they're doing.
Or stuff like that.
Just like, for example, like I could say that I'm upset that gaming appeals to casuals, right? Where's my Ninja Gaiden? Where's my game? Where's my Sega Genesis sequel? They're not making games to cater to me. They're making games to cater to casuals. You see how everybody see back then, when they cater to us, they're making more man games. Oh, they used to cater to hardcore gamers. They're catering to casuals. Everybody has some form of thing where it's like, yeah, I'm not happy with the direction of gaming, and this is what kind of sucks about the industry. It's always been like this, but people, like even my dad, like I've told you guys before, he still appreciated the N64 era. You know, he still did. It wasn't for him, but he's like, I do appreciate, what Nintendo's doing. We, as gamers, we have lost appreciation for things. We have lost appreciation for the hobby that has gave us all these childhood memories. And I think that's going to be something hard to get back, because look at what they're doing with these lazy games. Look at what they did. And then the pandering. I mean, like I said, for every new game, I'm just kind of nonchalant with it. I'm like, yeah, okay, hopefully. I got Spark, and I'm going to be doing a review on that, because y'all wanted to see that. Y'all want, after what I've said about the game, so you guys are going to see if my opinion's changed or whatever, and that's cool. I should be playing it pretty soon. But like I said, man, it's all nonchalant. It's always, whatever. Like, nothing can ever be better than your childhood. That's kind of what we gotten. We gotten to that point.
Make the game that you want to make.
And that's why another reason why these remasters and remakes exist as well.
But also,
because they know they can't make you happy. They know they can't make us happy, so they feel like, well, if we bring out Soul Reaver 1 and 2, that'll make him happy. Which it will, but it's just, it will never bring back the times of when these games came out.
Keep it real with the situation. Keep it real. I don't think gamers, by and large, hate women characters. I think there are some.
They don't like them.
But I think
I'm going to sit there and tell you, Tomb Raider, Eidos, the guy that made Tomb Raider, was supposed to be male character, which you don't know, and he hated the way they were sexualizing Laura in those games. So you can't sit there and say Tomb Raider was successful because it was a good game. Tomb Raider was successful because of what they were doing with Laura in the magazines. Y'all remember the code that they say if you input, you can make Laura naked? That's what people was buying Tomb Raider for, bro. I'm sorry. It is what it is, man. I don't care if you're the biggest Tomb Raider fan there is. People did not, the game was too difficult. People weren't playing that game. And like my dad said, it's a tech demo. My dad bought the Tomb Raiders just so he could play in the mansion. He didn't even play the game. He just run around the mansion. Oh, it's me, Laura. I'm gonna go for a nice swim. Nobody beat those games, man. Nobody cared for those games. Women, they liked the game. They built a somewhat of an attachment towards Laura, but that's it. Nobody really cared about Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider has been garbage ever since it came out on the PlayStation 1. That's why Square had to reboot it and they brought it back to its feet. But Tomb Raider has never really been, it's always, and at the time, and what Tomb Raider was doing with the 3D architecture, it was very ambitious, it was very advanced. So, of course, that's where Tomb Raider got its, thing. You feel me? Because it was kind of doing things at a time where people was like, whoa, what is this? Look at these 3D geometries.
People don't like it when they're.
But you can clearly see how Tomb Raider fell off. It fell off pretty early, too. Even during the PS1, people were buying the games, but they were buying them for all the wrong reasons.
Told that they don't like a game or they're not supporting a game because it has a female lead character or a main character of the game. Okay. When in actuality, that's just closing down any sort of conversation that you can have. I think extremists on both sides are pretty much idiots, but that's just my opinion. If their opinion is different than mine, that's fine. That's like
I'm gonna end it right here. I'm gonna say a few things and we're gonna end it. Gamers are just comfortable. Gamers don't want to expand their horizon, even from the old retro gamer as well as the new gamer now. They don't care. The passion is gone. It's gone. The days of where you wake up every morning and you just can't wait to play your Xbox and PlayStation. Y'all remember when playing the 360, how we felt, playing that with our friends. And, like I said, as we get older, we want a little bit of that. And no matter what these companies do, it's never going to rekindle those memories that you have. It's done. The characters suck. The characters are not iconic. And y'all be like, well, you can't say that, so you're being one of them. No, I'm not, because if your characters were so much better, then why do you guys still care about Doom? Why do you still care about the iconic characters that we grew up with? Y'all still care about Soap and the old Call of Duty. Y'all care about our characters. That's a good argument. Y'all want to sit there, oh yeah, we got everything, man. The new is better than the old, but you still playing with our Kratos. You're still playing with our games. What you mean, though? You want all the new stuff is better than talk about a new character then. Talk about new characters. Don't talk about old. Talk about new characters, right? Because we know what y'all do with new characters, So, like I said, man, y'all still on Master Chief. You still, on Delta Squad. Remember when Collision Games said we're not going to worry about Delta Squad anymore, and they still found a way to include them in the new Gears 4 and 5. People just can't get enough of the characters. They just love Coltrane, Baird, and Marcus. It is what it is. JD and that other girl are just not that appealing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. And like I said, take care. Peace out.